Hey, it's Paul Seaver again. Just here making some water for a friend of mine and some for myself for the weekend. So I'm making some Esperer.H2O. So it's functional electrolyzed water. So I have my unit right here that I have in my shop where I make my own waters from, which has it's got a complete RO system on it. And I take the water down to zero, bring it back up to 40 to 50 parts per million, enough to electrolyze. Plus, that's the minimum requirement for human consumption. Not that I'm making a human consumable water. I'm making functional electrolyzed water. What you do with it is your own stinking business. Okay, so I don't make bottled water. The smallest jug I put it in is a gallon. For canine hydration and stuff like that. We do 1 gallon, 5 gallon, 2.5 gallon, 15 gallon. It just depends on, I guess, what you're going to use it for. And again, that's your own darn business. So it's completely purified. It's brought back up to 50 parts per million TDS with a calcium filter, just like you would with any other RO system. Complete stainless steel system. And then we electrolyze it. And then after it's electrolyzed, it goes through a 5 micron coconut carbon filter for taste. So that's how I make it. So what's the difference? Why bother, right? Okay, so what we're making is functional electrolyzed water. So we're taking water that's typically made of clusters of 13 to 15 molecules, acidic and basic. Measuring the difference between them is what gives you your pH. Okay, so what we're doing is we're taking those ions and matching them one for one. That's called pKw, neutral. But we're bonding them. So we have a high amp dual polarity chamber that actually charges both sides. So once they're both very strong, since they're opposite polarities, they bond together. Once they bond together, they neutralize themselves out. Think about it a lot like you do with static electricity. It's kind of like static for water, ionics. You could relate it to that a lot easier, then you can understand it. How static moves from one thing to another, and eventually it wants to neutralize itself out. That's what it's trying to do. Well, water's the same way. Water tries to balance to neutral. Everything in Mother Nature tries to balance to neutral. Where there's a hole, there's a mound. Where there's water, I won't go there. Anyway, so really what we're doing here is we're creating an ionic solution where all the ions are neutralized, charged at the same polarity, and now they repel each other rather than grabbing each other. So that's called Ionic Product, the amount of energy that you apply to water and the amount of energy that the water retains. So we have 6.45 Ionic Product, which is, if everybody understands heat, okay? When you're cooking water and you put it on the stove and you bring it to a boil, you got 200 degree water, right? Okay, well at 200 degrees, you have 6.45 Ionic Product. We have the same energy as boiling water without the heat. It has nothing to do with cooking. Heat cooks, okay? But what we're talking about is the power of the water. So that's how we're broke down to single molecule, single ion. So what do you get as a benefit? So now the water straight out of the machine here is reduced. So you got a negative ORP. And that means that's an indication of the presence of hydrogen. So, you hear all about hydrogen water, hydrogen infused waters, and all these other freaking gimmick ass crap. Your body is engineered to accept dissolved hydrogen from water. And that's what we're making. We're making dissolved hydrogen from water. We're making hydrogen gas at the cathode from the water as the source. So then it stays in the water, and when you drink it, you get it in the water. So we won't go any further than that. There's a big difference between gas infused and all these other things that they have. And some of them I actually like. I like the ones where you drop the thing in the water and it does the thing. I think those are pretty cool. I got some at home that I use. I like them. But this is the ultimate. This is the ultimate. This is the way your body wants it. Okay? So, but if you have one of these machines at home, then you can get it at home. You can use it for everything. So I'm going to show you the ORP. Oh, that bucket's getting kind of full. You got to check it. Oh shit. It's a good thing I checked it. It's about ready to overflow. Alright, so I got to change my, I already sanitized all these cans. Then before I change them over, do a nice little spritz of ocean mist. Re-spritz this with ocean mist, which is organochlorine. Get it back on there. Turn that bad boy back on. And close the cap. There you have it. Making a 15-gallon drum of Esperer. Alright, so back to where we were. So we're looking for a negative ORP. We don't want to get hung up by the number, but see, we're at a negative, what was it, 150 something, 157. So some people might say, well, I could get hydrogen water with a heck of a lot lower negative number than that. Well, I could give you hydrogen water down to negative 850, but that don't make it good for you. This is balanced. This is not giving you more than your body wants. Here's the thing. More is not always better. Sometimes more is too much. If you flood your body, even with something as beneficial as hydrogen, and you give it too much, it ain't gonna like it. So it's gonna go into defensive mode. And you're gonna be doing the opposite of what you're trying to do. It's gonna be trying to get rid of your hydrogen. All right. So you're only, just like I have a hydrogen inhaler. Some of you might have seen a video. It's the same thing. It's dialed down. It's dialed down to what your body will accept without rejection. So right now we're at about, oh, I turned it off instead of on. We're running around 3,500, 35 parts per million. So it's probably off by just a little bit. It kind of comes up and down a little bit. So if I put it in a can, it'll be right at about 48. But depending on the filters, as the water's running through them, it's kind of a luck of the draw. So right now, from what I pulled right here, is 35. But that's plenty fine. I know you're going to say, yeah, but you said 40 to 50. 35, 40. You have to be that crucial about it. But we keep it. Well, I can't measure that one. But I measure them all the time. We're right between 40 and 50. So I don't really worry. That's what this machine puts out for years and years. So if you take one little cup of it and it shows 35, it doesn't really mean anything. The whole of the bucket will end up being 48, 40, 45 to 50. So anyway, that's it. That's Esperer water. If you get one of these in your home, it's awesome. And you're getting active dissolved hydrogen, active dissolved oxygen, a neutral pH, a 6.45 ionic product. It's just beautiful stuff. You really can't beat it. And as for the price, a basic unit just by itself for a countertop starts out at $2,600. Most units are a heck of a lot more than that. I won't talk too much about Kagans, but look at them Kagans, $6,500. It don't hold a candle to this unit. No, don't hold a candle to it. They may have a lot of experience in clever marketing, but their unit don't hold a candle to this. They may say, oh, this did. You got to know you got to know the difference between the units. So anyway, that's it. Gonna hand me some of my fresh Esperer. I ain't afraid of it. Ha!